So let's learn how to take X-rays for the DeftFix program. This holds true for any deformity correction, but few points are pertaining to DeftFix. So an ideal X-ray is where all struts are visible, all connectors should be seen. Struts should have the X-ray markers. Maximum length of the bone should be visible so that you can mark the shaft axis or and joint axis, etc., to do the corrections. Metaphyseal deformities, joint should be visible so that you can mark the joint line well. Beam center should be marked with a radiopaque marker. One should have a magnification marker or scaling object, a minimum of 80 millimeters, preferably 100 millimeters onwards. Uh, One has to note down the source to film distance in millimeters, and do not flip any of the x-rays, otherwise there will be an error and you will not be able to match the orange lines. So this is how an ideal x-ray is going to look for a metaphyseal deformity. The blue arrows point to the joint line seen well. The red arrows point to the beam centers, and the yellow arrows are showing the scaling object, which is 100 millimeters here. All the struts are well visible, the connectors are well visible, and their uh, x-ray markers are also well seen. There may be an overlap of some struts in either of the views, but that is something which is unavoidable. What we need to concentrate is on how the x-ray, the bone is going to be looking on the x-ray. So do not accept an X-ray like this. This is a metaphyseal deformity. In the AP view, the joint is not seen well. The beam is not centered on the joint. The ring is obscuring the joint, so you will not be able to mark the joint line here. Well, if you don't mark the joint line well, you will not be able to correct the deformity also. Well, same thing on the lateral, not a true lateral. The um, ring is obscuring the joint. Some of the strut is getting cut there. This is okay in terms of an AP X-ray, but again, the joint line is not perfectly seen. This is like a single focused on this ring, um, but the strut is getting cut here. The beam center is not seen. Even the osteotomy is obscured. So this is more likely not a true AP anyways. So do not accept an X-ray like this and repeat it. These are good X-rays of the same model. Joint line is well seen with the blue arrows. You can see that both AP and lateral. All the struts are visible. The scaling object has been placed clearly and is not being cut, and these X-rays are okay to proceed with the software. So how do we measure the source film distance? uh, the limb is placed on the film and not on the table directly. The distance you need to measure is from the source to the film, where the scaling object is placed and the limb is touching the film. This is not acceptable, where the film is kept inside the bucky and the limb is on the table and the measurement is being taken to the film, but this is wrong. Same thing for the lateral. A true lateral is an ideal orthogonal X-ray. So turning the tube is uh, better. We always prefer doing it like that. These are shoot through laterals, and again the distance is measured from the film to the source that way. Turning the patient will not always give you a true lateral or orthogonal view, but though the software accepts it, but that is not the ideal X-ray to be measured on. Beam center. So this is what we have been talking about in the X-ray collimator. There is a crosshair which is seen here, and that's crossing at this point where the beam center, the red arrow is pointing. The radio marker is placed there. The yellow arrow is showing the scaling object placed on the film. Same thing on the lateral. That's the X-ray crosshair and the radio opaque marker for the beam center. The yellow arrow there is showing the scaling object. So this is just a video showing how that collimator looks, and focusing on the right area. And this is how that beam center is marked. Thank you. Now we go ahead with